Burrow better have gone after those royal and his guards.
痛みがひどい。呼吸ができない。
The pain is severe. I can't breathe.
ああ、自分は
I know that.
もうすぐ死ぬのか。悲願を叶えられぬまま、こんな場所で。
I think the storytelling is Sciens. I'm gonna die here without even fulfilling my wish.
苦しい。あなたのことだ
thank
け
you.
心
Thank you,
残り。
Rizara. That would be nice. The suffering. I'm so worried about you.
会いたいよ、母上。
I want to see you, Mother. No? Maybe it's someone else's point of view. The cleanup at the Institute went much faster than expected.
ダハトさん、爆弾によって破壊された扉の修繕が完了しました。
Donut, the doors that were broken from the explosions have been fixed.
うわ、ありがとうございます。ちなみに廊下に開いた大穴はどうです？地下まで貫通していたみたいですけど。
Yes, thank you so much. So how about that gaping hole in the hallway? Seems like it goes pretty deep.
そこは工事の予定を入れておきました。今は立ち入り禁止にして閉鎖しています。通路は迂回すれば問題ないかと。
We have construction scheduled for that. The area is currently off limits, but there are other routes that can be used.
それと幸い研究設備は爆発に巻き込まれなかったので、研究は問題なく続けられるかと思います。
It also seems the devices in the lab itself weren't damaged by the explosions, so we can continue our research with no issue.
そう、ならよかったです。まあシアンさんならそこに被害を与えることはないだろうと思ってましたけど。
Oh, that's great news. Then again, I doubt Cian would have put them at risk anyway.
ああ、そうそう。シアンさんがしていた研究なんですけど、資料をすべて僕に回してくれませんか？
Oh yeah, before I forget, can you bring me all the papers Cian was working on?
え？はい。でもダハトさんの研究には必要ないんじゃ。
Yes, but they don't have anything to do with your research, right, Donuts?
何言ってるんですか。所長として元研究員の仕事をチェックするのは当然のことですよ。
Oh, come now. As researcher, I need to review all work, even though it's done by former researchers.
今は必要ないかもですけど、僕たちの研究に活用できるかもしれません。研究に無駄なことなんて何もないんですよ。
True. I may not need them now, but it's possible we'll find something useful for our work. Can't let research go to waste, you know?
確かにその通りですね。すぐに回しますので少々お待ちください。
You're absolutely right. I'll get them to you right away. The researcher quickly left with sparkling eyes, moved by Donut's cleverness. Donut had become the new director of the Institute, and was now being looked up to by the researchers working there. At the same time, there were others with their own motives for trying to work with him.
新所長殿、調子はどうですか？
How are things, my dear new director? A royal family member appeared with the royal guard. He smiled the moment he saw Donuts.
ああ、どうも。王族の方にお越しいただけるなんて光栄です。今日はご視察でしょうか？
Ah, hello. It's an honor to have the royal family pay us a visit. Are you here for inspections?
まあ、そのようなものだな。
I suppose you can call it that.
あ、先日はご兄弟の命を救えなくて 申し訳ございませんでした。お悔やみ申し上げます。
I'm very sorry I wasn't able to save your brother, His Highness. My deepest condolences.
ああ、それなら気にすることはない。シアンを消す手伝いができたのだから、あいつだって本望だろう。
Don't worry about that anymore. I'm sure he'd be happy to know he helped get rid of Sciens.
そうですか。
I see.
つまり、あの王族の命が失われるのは予定通り。国内放送といい、新聞といい、
It was obviously
随分
planned.
と用意周到だな。
Which means his death was planned. Their immediate announcements in the newspaper extras make sense now.
新聞に書かれていたおぞましい怪物もシアンさんが作ったものじゃないのに勝手にそういうことにされちゃったし。
The hideous monster they mentioned wasn't one of Sciens' creations, but he somehow made it Sciens' fault. The entire scheme must have been approved by the king. Benoit Vevipor. Donov was strangely impressed that he came up with such a plan despite being so stupid.
ところで、新所長殿はどういう研究方針なのですかな。
Now then, may I ask what the new director has planned for this facility?
それはもちろん前々からご説明していた通り感情のメモリーに尽力できればと。
Why, of course. I believe I mentioned my plans to focus on emotions and expanded memory.
僕たちは命の入れ物を作りたいのではなくてちゃんとした人間を作りたいので。
They want to create not a simple vessel to hold life, but rather true humans. The man took a deep breath. Donut expected him to say something along the lines of making stronger bodies to fight the curse instead of wasting resources, but
素晴らしい。ぜひとも完成させていただきたい。
wonderful. I look forward to your work. The man unexpectedly gave his full support to Donut and
我々王族もシアンが所長だった時以上に援助をすると約束しましょ
Royal family will promise you greater support than when Sciens was director.
う。もちろん我々にも見返りをくれるととても嬉しいのだが。
Of course, we'd be absolutely delighted if you could return the favor.
どうも。
Absolutely. Donut forced a smile on his face as a certain thought crossed his mind.
これ完全に僕に取り入ろうとしているよね。
This guy's already sucking up to me.
シアンさんの時はここまで露骨じゃなかったの
It
に。
wasn't this obvious when Sciens was here.
舐められてるのかな。まあ見た目も若いし僕もこういう性格だからそう思われても仕方ないか。
Maybe he's underestimating me. Well, guess that can't be helped since I look young and my personality doesn't help.
でも一言だけ言っておかなきゃ。
I better say this to him now.
それはそうと養護施設の一つを見せしめに潰したと聞きましたがそれは本当ですか？
Oh, by the way, I heard one of the orphanages was attacked as a warning to the public. Is that true?
ああ、シアンに協力した一派のことか。それだったらほとんど粛清したはずだ。
Oh, you mean the one that was supporting Sciens? I believe that place has been purged.
肝心のシアンたちには逃げられてしまったが、奴らが捕まるのも時間の問題だろう。新所長殿が気にかける必要はない。
Sciens and a few others made their escape, but it shouldn't take long to arrest them. You need not worry, good director.
そうですか。
I see.
国民を殺したことに何の罪悪感も抱いていないんだ。
So he doesn't feel bad about civilians being killed. What a low life. A grave sin has been committed that drags Sciens and the others into turmoil.
でも今さら後には引けないよね。
Not that I can do anything about it now.
それに っとシアンさんなら
And I bet Cian would. Donut firmly clenched his fist out of sight of the royal. He simply needed to finish what had been put into motion until the very end. Okay, so he has a plan. So he's planning something. First, continue. I'm gonna get some water. And maybe a bite of bread. Bringing out the bread. Bread is good. I like bread. Oh, it's just a loaf of French bread I sliced. And a cat's hair. This is what Cian lives off of. So it's fitting that I have some when I play his roots. Almonds aren't nuts? What are they then? Ah, using almond flour. Makes sense. I wonder how that would taste. It could probably be done. Banana is a berry? I guess technically it does. Yeah, the way that it grows, I guess it would be classified as a berry. Although it's still weird to think of a banana as berry. Yes, berry life is very strange. Yeah, life is very strange. The color changing thing? This thing? This is the mic. What's this? Something else that... I don't think there's anything else that changes color here. This is a mic. It's pretty. I like the way it changes color. Kind of reminds me of a lava lamp. But without the, you know, the floaty stuff. Pretty to look at. Gives the area some color. My favorite character so far. I don't know why, but I like Sciens. He's my favorite. He's my pronounced fictional husband in this game so far. Still don't know why, but you know, it's... That's how it works. It might change as we play the other routes. But for now... An old abandoned house located on the outskirts of the country. I couldn't seem to recall clearly why I was here.
シアンさん、容体はどうだ？結構出血してたみたいだが。
Sciens, how do you feel? You're bleeding pretty badly.
今は問題ない。下手に動けば傷口が開くだろうが。
I'm fine now. Of course, my wounds can still open. At the far end of the room was a large bed, and on it Sciens covered with bruises and wounds. I remembered he'd lost consciousness the moment he got here after taking a horrible beating from Barreau. He somehow survived, but it took a few hours for him to be able to talk like that again. As for the one who inflicted those wounds, Barreau hadn't shown himself ever since.
ところで、黒土家の奴らはどうした？さっきから姿が見えないが。
By the way, where's the Claude family duo? I don't see them around.
彼らなら屋敷に返しました。あそこなら潜伏もできるでしょうし、食料も潤沢にあるみたいなので。
They went back to the mansion. It seems they'll be able to hide with enough provisions to last a while.
一応通信機も持たせてあるので、逐一連絡するようにはします。
I gave them a transmitter to use, so we're gonna have to keep in touch when possible. Totally didn't go back because Jean wants to stuff more memories into poor little Malthus. My poor child.
「生き残った自警団とも連絡だけは取り合うことにしてる。潜伏するにしても情報は欲しいからな。
We're also in contact with the corpse members who survived. We still need information, even when they're hiding.
そうか。
I see. With their conversation over, Alright. Good seeing you again, Azera. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Well, you go have a good dinner or breakfast or whatever. And you have a good day. Hey. Yeah, Salome and Cerez are not in a good place right now. I mean, imagine seeing your foster brother's head roll to your feet. Not a good day. A heavy silence filled the air. Everyone was looking at me and Mother. As for Mother, she was looking at the person she took from my arms and now cradled in hers. Adolf. Adolf.
嘘よ。あの子が死んだなんて嘘よ。嘘。
But he wasn't a person anymore. It was Adolf's head. Evidence of a tragedy that his family could no longer pretend was merely a nightmare. Mother and I, we were unable to move a muscle.
本当に死んでしまったんだね。
Ciri's really dead.
ああ、
Yeah.
もう彼と手合わせもできないなんて。
I can't train with him anymore. Hugo quietly patted Yves on the shoulder as he looked down at the floor. Everyone apart from Sciens was unable to accept the sudden departure of someone they knew too well. But it wasn't only Adolf who passed away in a way that we didn't expect. I couldn't make their graves. The children, I left them all back at the orphanage. I couldn't even give them a single prayer. They're supposed to be my family!
セレス。
He recalled everything the moment I closed my eyes. The children lying dead everywhere, and the members of the corpse who tried to protect them. The pungent smell of blood. And Adolf's body forced down to the floor. Adolf's head rolling to my feet upon his decapitation. So why? Why can't I shed even a single tear? My eyes were completely dry, and I hadn't been blinking much as I gazed into the air. I felt nothing. Why? Was it because I was so used to spreading misfortune and seeing death? I don't want to be strong like this. I don't want my strength So God, please return Adolf and the others to me. I was unable to cry with Mother, even when my dear foster brother and the rest of my family died. I was such a cold person.
いい加減にしろ。
Stop it already. I raised my head a bit, hearing his firm voice. I looked at the bed, discovered Sciens with his back straight up, looking down at us slumped in our seats.
泣き言を言う前にそいつの首を埋めてやった方がいいと思うがな。
If you have time to feel sorry, you should hurry and give that head a proper burial.
そのままだと腐るぞ。
He's going to rot at us, right? Mother and I looked at her hands upon hearing his calm voice. Adolf was looking up at her with the same hollow eyes as earlier. Perhaps the others couldn't bear seeing him like that any longer.
そうだね。そうしてあげよう。
Yeah, he's probably gonna smell soon. If not already. I don't know, I've never been around a dead body. He's right. We should do as he says.
シスター、辛いでしょうが。
Sister, I know it's tough, but...
嫌よ。
No! Hugo reached out to Mother, but she embraced Adolf's head as if to protect him.
アドルフはまだ死んでなんかいない。脳さえあればまだリライバーとして生き返れるかもしれないじゃない。
Adolf isn't dead yet. He can revive as a reliver if we still have his brain.
この子は私の大切な子よ。施設から唯一連れ出してあげられたのにまた殺すなんて。
He's my dear precious child. I can't bear to kill only one I could save from the only one we could save from the orphanage.
それにこんなところにアドルフを埋めるなんてかわいそうよ。この子が一人ぼっちになってしまう。
Don't you know how lonely Adolf would be if we bury him in a place like this? He's going to be all alone.
だからいや絶対に嫌よ。
So no. I'm not letting him go.
お前も知っているだろう。一度失われてしまった命は戻らない。バックアップがなければ無理だ。
You already know. Once life is lost, it can never return. It is impossible without backup.
でもアドルフは
But Adolf is still...
シスターサロメ、まだ綺麗な状態を保っている今、供養してあげてください。
Sister Salome, please give him a proper burial while he's still the way we remember him.
俺たちだって友人が見るに耐えない
And
姿
not
に
a
なっていく
rotting
ところ
pile
は
of flesh.
見たくないんです。
We don't want to see our friend turn into an unbearable state. She held tight to his head, but without any real strength. Yves gently reached out to Adolf to set him free from Mother's arms. Mother screamed to have him back, but upon looking into Adolf's eyes, She fell to the floor in tears. Mother. Mother! I'm so sorry, Mother. I embraced her from behind and apologized repeatedly. It's my fault. This happened because I involved Adolf and everyone else at the orphanage. My selfish apology didn't reach anyone. It didn't matter whether Death, who spread misfortune, repented for her crimes. Those lives that had been lost would never ever return. A few hours later, Yves and the others buried Adolf in the garden. A burial without a tombstone. We couldn't even give him a proper burial, since the tombstone might give away our location. I just hoped I could take him back to the orphanage someday.
それじゃ俺たちは隣の部屋で休んでいるから何かあったらすぐに呼んで
We're gonna take a rest in the other room. Call us if you need anything. Okay. Mother fell unconscious after crying and screaming. It was taken to another room to rest. Yves and the others headed to each of their rooms, tired and burned out. Sciens must have also reached his limits, as he fell asleep again on the bed next to me. Considering our situation, we should really discuss our next course of action, but no one in the house had a strength or spirit left to do so. That applied to me as well. Without the strength to even move, I simply slouched in the corner of the room alone. On the floor were fresh bloodstains. I assumed they were from blood that dripped from Adolf's neck. It's my fault. I killed Adolf. If only I didn't suggest we look after Sciens. It's all my fault. I kept repeating the same words. I don't know. I can't think. What should I have done? My eyes were still dry, preventing me from shedding even a single tear. I wasn't sure how many hours had passed. That's quite the noise. It seemed I fell asleep. I quickly awoke when I heard a sound coming from nearby. I looked around from where I was sitting on the floor. Sciens was groaning in pain on the bed. The dim light in the room showing him gritting his teeth with sweat rolling down his forehead. Sciens. I slowly stood and looked at Sciens' face. He looks like he's in pain. I want to help him. I hated how I could come to this thought despite everything that happened. After all, if I didn't have this desire to stay by Sciens' side, Adolf and everyone might not have died. It would be so much simpler if I could just curse him for what happened. If only I could hate him for dragging me into his mess. But... Cyan... Oh, you're alright? No matter what, I couldn't leave this person with his straightforward eyes. Before I knew it, I was gently wiping Cyan's forehead with my handkerchief. His eyelids twitched, then slowly opened.
お前か。
It's you. Cyan turned his head in my direction, struggling to fix his eyes upon me. His vivid reliver eyes showed a reflection of my golden hair in a different color. Your wounds might be swollen. If you don't mind, let me take a look. Cyan left himself in my care without putting up a fight. I wondered if he was worried that I might harm him out of resentment. Then again, I didn't have the strength to feel such a powerful emotion right now. I slowly removed his sheets, then his clothes, thinking his hairpin might get in the way. I removed that too. As expected, the bandages wrapped around his abdomen were wet with blood. I'm going to remove the bandages so that... Huh? I tried to deny what I was seeing. Dang, he's messed up. I expected his wounds from his fight against Barreau to be bad. But what stood out more than those wounds were the scars all over his body. I would assume these are from former assassination attempts. Judging by the color of his skin around those scars, I assumed they were inflicted long ago. Cyan, about these...
醜いと思うか。
You think they're horrible? Cyan must have noticed my confusion, as he chuckled cynically.
別に誰かにやられたわけじゃない。自分自身で必要だからやっただけだ。
Oh, Science. Crazy man. I didn't get those from anyone. I wounded myself out of necessity. What do you mean?
新たなリライバーを作るための実験だ。
It was needed in order to create a new reliver.
死刑囚による実験で大体のデータが揃ったら、まずは自分の体を乗り換えて研究の結果を試していた。
I had the majority of the required data for my tests on criminals, so I used my own body to see how I would fare.
だが今回は失敗だった。肺の強化をした結果、致命的な欠陥を抱えてしまった。
The result was a failure. I was able to strengthen my lungs, but it came with a serious defect. On his body? Which meant...
ち、どこのバカがあのデータを勝手に使った？
どういうことだよ。
どうも何も言葉通りだ。研究所の誰かが試作段階のデータを使ってご親切にもこいつをリライバーにしたんだ。あれは試作段階の上副作用があるというのに。
it's that same one. Don't tell me. The side effects you were talking about back then. He nodded to confirm my suspicions as I put new bandages on his body.
俺が今使っているのは肺機能を強化し、呪いの症状を通常より表面化しにくくしているものだ。
The body I'm using has modified lungs, which helps suppress the effects of the curse and keep symptoms from surfacing.
だが、呼吸のたびに負担がかかり、かなりの激痛を伴う。それこそ軟弱な王族では耐えきれんほどのな。
But every breath is a struggle that causes significant pain. It's more than those feeble royals can handle.
俺が常に平静を保っているのは、薬や手術で副作用を抑え込んでいたからだ。
I can maintain my strength through drugs and performing operations on myself.
だからこそ自分以外には使われないよう隠匿していたんだが。
Which is the very reason I kept the data secret so that others can access it.
どこかのバカに見つかってこのざまだ。
But somebody had found it, and here we are now. So that's what happened. But why did you try it on yourself? Your experiments are painful, so why didn't you test the criminals instead? I knew saying so was morally repugnant, but my question was based off efficiency.
確かにそうするのが合理的なのだろ
That would be reasonable.
う。だが人を生かすという目標は俺が掲げたものだ。ならば払うべき代償は俺自身が真っ先に払うべきだろう。
My objective is to preserve human life. If so, I should be the first person to pay the price.
すべては俺のエゴなのだから。
Everything I do is out of egotism. He was right. He was working to create relivers that could fight the curse of death. Sciens wasn't simply forcing others to sacrifice themselves.
まあ今まさに無関係な死を生み出した身で偉そうに言えることではないが。
In any case, I'm not a noble man given the meaningless deaths I caused. My thoughts froze when I heard the words he said. He must be referring to Adolf and the children. Suddenly, I felt emotion starting to flow from deep within, along with a sense of sorrow that made me want to vomit. But my lips were shut so tightly, I couldn't.
恨み事を言わないのか。俺に関わりさえしなければお前の家族が処刑されることもなかっただろうに。
Not expressing your grudge against me. Your family wouldn't have died if you weren't connected to me. But I don't know.
はあ
Sciens, you said it yourself. I was the one who wanted to stay by your side. If that resulted in what happened, then it means I was the one who killed Adolf and the others. I thought I could always stand by Sciens' side. Beside Sciens' strength and determination to fight the curse. I thought that would make me forget that I caused misfortune as death. Which is why I don't have the right to hold a grudge against you, Sciens. Aww.
やめろ。
Stop. He suddenly pulled me by the arm. I was enveloped in the heat of his body from his fever. from above. I heard the voice of God, who didn't bend even against death.
結果を変えられないことであれこれ責任を問うのは非生産的だ。それより今後のことを考えろ。
It's pointless to spend all your energy ruminating on what cannot be changed. Think of your priorities. Priorities. I understood very well that he didn't say these calm words out of kindness. So why? I know what you're saying, but what are we going to do? Why did I want to hear his answer so much?
決まっている。研究所の奪還だ。
Isn't it obvious? We need to take back the institutes.
俺は人類を救うための研究をやめるつもりはない。それに売られた喧嘩は買う主義だ。
I have no intention of quitting my research to save humanity. And I'm always ready for a fight.
何よりそろそろ体を乗り換えないと寿命がまずい。今死ぬわけにはいかないからな。
Firstly, I need to change my body since my current one won't last longer. I can't die now. Sciens sounded like he was in pain, but he still spoke with conviction. I knew it. He didn't even hint at trying to seek vengeance. But I wasn't the only one who lost everything. Why? Why are you putting in so much effort and trying so hard? This country betrayed you. The people you were trying to save denounced you and are trying to blame you for everything. Haven't you done enough? I'm sure Donut would take over the Reliver research. So please. You don't have to put up a fight anymore, Cian. I didn't want someone like him taken away from me. That was my earnest plea. But
いや、ある。
no, I have to. His firm voice denied me my wish. Science!
研究を打ち切るということは、すなわち人を救う権利を放棄することだ。
Abandoning my research means giving up my birthright to save the people.
世界を俯瞰する者としての責務を果たさないまま、逃げるわけにはいかない。
I can't run away from my responsibility as the man who is able to observe this world.
それに、諦めてしまえば、
And if I give up,
いつか来るお前の死に対して、何の対策もできなくなる。
it also means
それだけはごめんだ。
I'll be unable to fight your inevitable death one day. I can't let that happen. Huh? I raised my head a bit. Cyan was looking straight at me, with an expression devoid of any emotion.
俺はお前を独占したいと思う程度には気に入っている。あくまで雑用
Of
ばか
course,
りと
just
し
to
て
take
だ
care
が
of the chores, nothing else. I like you, to the extent that I want to keep you as my own. Of course, to take care of the daily chores.
だが今のお前は気に食わん。
But I don't like how you are now.
いつものようにうじうじとした情けない姿を俺に見せてるよ。
Rude. Show me the pathetic, worrisome side of you that I'm most used to. The moment I heard his words, the tears I couldn't shed began flowing from my eyes. Huh? Why am I hurriedly dried the tears that were coming out again against my will. But I couldn't make them stop. What was I supposed to do? Especially since I didn't have the right to cry. Please don't look. He took my words in the opposite way and pressed my face against his sore shoulder.
泣きたければ泣け。それくらい受け止めてやる。
Cry all you want. I can at least do that for you. Even if the world doesn't forgive you, I will. That was what he whispered in my ear. I'm tearing up. Adolf, everyone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. Insert crying sounds. I knew I shouldn't, but the tears didn't stop as my frozen heart began to thaw. My tears flowed and wet his fresh bandages. All I could do now was cry. It was noon the next day when we were able to discuss our next course of action in earnest. Yves and Hugo had just returned from their patrol around the surrounding area. The injured Scion was still on the bed, and the others took a seat nearby. The expression on everyone's faces was glum. It would be difficult to have a constructive conversation. Still, Science started the conversation by bringing up something positive.
研究所の奪還ですか。
Taking back the institutes?
あまり現実的じゃねえな。この人数で攻め込むのはちと無謀すぎる。
Doesn't sound very realistic to me. We don't really have the manpower to storm that place.
それは承知の上で策を練ると言っている。
I understand that. Which is why I said we should come up with a plan. I wasn't sure what everyone would say. Mother was participating, but she didn't say a word. Her face was pale, and she stared at the floor with hollow eyes. Scion let out a sigh, seeing how heavy the atmosphere in the room was.
すぐに答えを出せとは言わない。とりあえず外の状況はどうなっている？
I'm not saying we should set a plan now. How are things outside so far?
完全に俺たちは指名手配扱いだな。特にあんたはこの国を呪う死神扱いって感じだ。
We're all enemies of the public, especially you being death and all.
民衆たちがまだ懐疑的だったら救いの手があったかもしれないけど、あなたを信じてくれる人はいないと思います。
You would have more options if the people had their doubts. But I don't think there's anyone who believes you right now.
そうか。
I see.
何にせよシアンさんが動けるようになるまではマティスや自警団から情報収集をしておきます。
In any case, we'll have Mathis and the corpse continue gathering information until you're recovered, Sciens.
それと研究所奪還を検討するためにも内部構造や詳細を教えてもらえると助かります。
Oh, and it'd help if you could tell us everything about the Institute so we can offer suggestions on regaining control.
それくらいかまあ。俺は俺で奪還のための策を練っておく。
Not a problem. I would devise a plan on my end.
それを聞いても納得できないようだったら改めて反対意見を聞こう。
If you don't like what I come up with, you can lay out your reasoning then.
言われなくともそのつもりだ。こっちは命がかかっているんだからな。
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. After all, our lives are at stake here. We were being chased and didn't have much freedom. But Sciens had lost his will to fight. But with the conversation over, Sciens' body quickly went limp. His wounds must still be painful. Sciens, please don't push yourself. Why don't you get some rest now?
わかった。少しの間休ませてもらう。
I'll do that. I'll get some sleep while I still can. Sciens lay down on the bed without objecting. In just a few seconds, he was fast asleep.
シアンさん辛そうだね。
Looks like Sciens in bad shape. Yes. He's been pushing himself quite a bit.
まああれだけの重傷で生きているだけでも奇跡みたいなもんだよな。
Well, it's nothing short of a miracle that he survived with those wounds. Another silence filled the room. Do you mind if I ask you something? Not wanting to waste even a second, I somehow mustered strength to speak up. About Sciens' idea of wanting to take back the Institutes. What are your thoughts?
俺は正直に言うと巻き込まれたくない。アドルフの仇は討ちたいとは思うが敵があまりにも強大すぎる。
I honestly don't want to get dragged into his mess anymore. I do want to avenge Adolf, but the target's too powerful.
言い方は悪いがシアンさんが亡くなったらこっちは投降することだってできるわけだ。そうすりゃ手配だって解除できる。
I know this sounds bad, but we have the option to give ourselves up if Sciens dies. That would lift a bounty on our heads.
でもそううまくいくかな。
I doubt that would work.
だってシスターサロメの施設はセレスやアドルフが所属していたってだけであんなことになってしまった。
I mean, you saw what happened to Sister Salome's orphanage just because it was Cerez's and Adolf's home?
一度でもシアンさんの味方をした俺たちがそう簡単に見逃されるとは思えない。だったら俺は戦いたい。
I doubt they'd let us go, since we already sided with Sciens. If that is the case, I want to keep fighting. Yevez, you want to take back the Institute?
そうだね。だってシアンさんは冤罪なんだろう。このまま全ての罪を背負わされて殺されるのはいくらなんでもひどすぎるよ。
Yeah. Sciens innocent, right? It'd be awful to see him executed for crimes he didn't commit.
それにリライバーの研究だって 彼がいてこそ進んでいるんじゃないか。
Real life research is able to
もう
advance
必要ないとは思
because
え
of
ない。
him. So I doubt he's too expendable.
イブの言い分にも一理あるか。
Guess you have a point, Yves. Yves was willing to talk and listen to Barreau. But even he couldn't endure the crimes of the royal family. Which means the rest is... We then turned our attention to Mother. It seemed like she heard what we said, as she slowly looked up after noticing that we were looking at her.
王家を潰すべき。
I agree. I'm on Salome's side. I'm on her side. The royal family should be killed. She mumbled to herself. Uh-huh.
研究所を取り戻したところで、あの王族たちが生きている限り、何度でも同じことが繰り返されるわ。
Even if the Institute is taken back, the same will continue to happen if the royal family is still alive.
本当に奪還したいというのなら、奴らを皆殺しにするしかない。
If you really want to take back the place, you will need to kill them all. She said so in a very calm voice, but cold sweat rolled down our backs at the intense pressure we felt from her.
まあその意見はもっともですけど。
Well, I suppose you're right, but
でもそれはいくらなんでもアドルフたちの無念は俺だって晴らしたいですけど、さすがにやりすぎなんじゃ。
that's, you know, I know we want to avenge Adolf and the others, but that's a tall order.
我が子が殺されたっていうのに、黙って指を加えていろというの？
You telling me to sit here quietly after my child was killed?
あなたたちは王族がどれだけ犠牲なのか知らないから、そんな悠長なことが言えるのよ。
You're only able to say that because you don't know how horrible and lowly the royal family is.
幸せだった私にあいつらが何をしたのか。
I was happy, but then they... Mother looked worse with each word she muttered. She began to speak faster and faster until...
あいつら私の子供、家族を殺したの。それに自分たちの利益のために国を。
シスター・サロメ、
And
ど
so
うした
she
んです
began
か？
to speak words that had no meaning. Sister Salome, what's wrong? Mother, are you okay? Something was definitely wrong. As we couldn't hear a word of what she was saying now. We looked on in confusion, unable to get through to her when...
何をしている？
What are you doing? Sciens woke up from his sleep, from all the commotion. Sciens! Something's terribly wrong with Mother. Hearing my plea for help, Sciens squinted his eyes and looked at Mother.
ああ、リライバーによくある症状だ。興奮しすぎるとメモリーの処理が間に合わなくなることがある。
Yes, a common issue amongst relivers. The memory is unable to fully process data due to extreme excitement or tension.
何か対処法はあるんですか？
Is there a way to bring her back?
とにかく落ち着かせるしかない。ベッドにでも寝かせてやれ。
You need to calm her down. Just let her rest in bed or something.
わかった。セレス、彼女のそばについてやってくれ。
Got it. Sciens, stay with her. Okay. Yves and Hugo briskly lifted Mother and carried her away to another room. Some time had passed. Mother, how do you feel? I slowly peeked inside after giving her some time to rest.
セレス、さっきはごめんなさいね。変な取り乱し方をしてしまって。
Sciens, I'm sorry about earlier. I just felt so distraught. Thank goodness. It's our usual Mother. I let out a sigh of relief and walked over to her side, with the old tea set on the serving plates. Mother, are you thirsty? Here, please drink this. Yves found some wild tea leaves outside that we could brew.
ありがとう。本当なら私がしっかりしなきゃいけないのに情けないわね。
Thank you. I should be the one supporting everyone. Pathetic. Please don't say that. Anyone would feel the way you did after experiencing what happened. She went quiet again. I bet no matter how much time passed, she would never be able to talk calmly about the tragedy at the orphanage.
どうしてこんなことになったのかしら。
Why did this have to happen? Well, I couldn't respond to her question. Mother probably heard on the way here what happened at the Institute when we were attacked, but I need to tell her what happened myself. After all, it is my responsibility. Let me explain.
そういうことが言いたいわけじゃないの。
That's not what I was trying to say. Huh?
ずっと一緒にいるんだもの。あなたたちが私に隠れてシアンの味方をしていたことくらい気づいていたわ。
I've known you a long time. I knew you were hiding the fact that you were helping Sciens.
それにアドルフ自身がそれらしいことを言っていたし、ね、
Adolf himself said something along those lines. Mother. I could feel her love and compassion from the words she spoke to me without blame, as well as the great deal of regrets. I'm very sorry if I had acted so mindlessly.
だから謝らなくていいのよ。相談してくれなかったのはお母さんとしては寂しかったけれど。
Now, you don't need to apologize. I must admit, I was sad you didn't discuss it with your mother, but...
そうじゃなくてね。今回のことは私への天罰なんじゃないかって思えたのよ。
That isn't really the point. The point is that I believe what happened is my divine punishment. Divine punishment? That was completely the opposite of what Mother deserved. But you're the one who raised us when no one else was willing to take us in. There's no way a kind person like you deserves to be punished, Mother. Mother smiled sadly.
私はね、慈善事業として施設を経営していたわけじゃないの。
I wasn't managing the orphanage purely out of goodwill.
この国の未来を担う優秀な子供を選別していただけよ。
I was selecting talented children who could lead this country to a better future. collecting? What do you mean by that? For what purpose?
私とシアンが前々から知り合いだったのは知っているでしょう。
You're aware that I've known Sciens for a long time.
それは才能のありそうな子を施設で育てて彼のもとに研究員の卵として引き渡していたからなの。そういう意味で私は
Oh,
彼の支
okay.
援者だったのよ。
So I was right about her having ulterior motives regarding the children. Except she wasn't selling them into like slavery or anything crazy like that. It was she was picking ones that had a bright future as a researcher. He was raising talented children and sending them to the institute to become researchers. I suppose in that sense I was supporting him. I never knew. It must have been a secret that she hadn't even disclosed to Adolf. But what's so bad about that? You were raising the children to become the future of this country.
それだけじゃないわ。
That's not all.
あなたを施設に引き取ったのはその体質を利用するためだったのよ。
I took you into the orphanage because of your abilities. You mean me?
あなたが起こすと言われている不幸、この国にまとわりついている死の呪いに酷似しているでしょ。
This misfortune you supposedly caused sound very similar to the curse of death that afflicted this country.
だから私、あなたが本当にこの国を呪う死神の生まれ変わりか関係者の血筋なんじゃないかと思っていたの。
Which is why I thought you were death, reborn to curse this land. Or perhaps someone related to the curse.
それにアドルフもあなたほど目立った体質ではないけど普通の人より呪いの進行が遅かったでしょ。
And you remember how Adolf didn't exhibit any symptoms of the curse, even at his age? Now that you mention it, Adolf was so strong and healthy. I sometimes forgot he was 21.
観察結果次第ではいつでもあなたたちをシアンに渡すつもりでいたわ。
Depending on how things progressed, I planned on sending you two over to Sciens.
すべては国の呪いを解くため、国の礎とするため。
All for the sake of lifting the curse. Sacrifices for the country. You are actually destined to end up being tested inhumanely like those criminals? And this was going to happen through the mother who raised and guided us? Noticing my expression, Mother continued to speak sadly. Okay, so never mind, I guess she was, in a way, planning a negative future for the children. Noticing my expression, Mother continued to speak sadly.
昔の私だったら犠牲を前提とした研究なんて絶対に協力しなかったわ。生きるためだとしても品性だけは売り渡したくないもの。
The old me would have never supported research requiring sacrifices. I couldn't have traded my integrity for that purpose.
だけどそれ以上に王家に対する焦りがあって。
But beyond that was my frustration toward the royal family. She said that there was a reason she wanted to lift the curse of death so badly. She slowly began to explain. I became a reliver around 60 years ago. Though the use of the technology Sciens developed when I was 21 years old. Back then, I lived in harmony with my child, who was left behind after my kind husband passed away from illness. I was bothered by the curse that approached us upon the country, and the ethos of its citizens.
リライバー技術があれば我らは不滅だ。
We can live on forever through reliver technology.
いくら死んだとしてもリライバーになれば転生できるのだから。
Using newly found reliver technology was no reason for people to take their lives so lightly and accept death so readily. Which is why I said,
この国の倫理観は間違っている。リライバー化の成功だけで満足してはいけない。
the ethics of this country are terribly weak. We should not be so reliant on reliver technology.
私たちは他国に存在するという普通の人間になる努力をするべきだ。
We must put an effort to live like the humans outside of this country. And with that, I began to research the curse from a different point of view. But that didn't last long. I'm starting to get a little sleepy. Oh shit. Because I was pursuing the mystery behind the curse, the royal family feared that it would invite disaster and try to kill me. Because of that, I was separated from my only child and met Sciens by coincidence during my time in hiding. As you well know, Sciens was a born genius and a savior who extended the people's lifespans through reliver technology. Which is why I thought he would dismiss my idea, but surprisingly, our objectives were the same, as we both sought to lift the curse. So I decided to cooperate with Sciens and went into hiding in Coin. Okay, so I guess they aren't related.
本当にいろいろなことがあったわ。
So many things happened afterward.
設立したばかりのエクソシスト教団に入って呪いについて研究をと訴えたこともあるの。
I joined the Society of Exorcists when it was
結局
established
そこも追放されてしまった。
to research the curse. But in the end, they excommunicated me.
そしてついには愛する子まで殺されて。
Finally, my dear child was killed. Mother,
それでも諦められなかった。シアンに協力していればいつか呪いや王家にも打ち勝てると思ったから。
but I didn't give up. I thought that if I cooperated with Sciens, I'd be able to defeat the curse in the royal family one day.
施設の責任者になったのも全てはそのためだったのよ。
That's why I established the orphanage and became its matron. Mother's shoulders slumped as she finished her story. She must have remembered the suffering she went through back then. I didn't know Mother had such a past. Mother had spoken so much, as though everything needed to be let out. Next, she began to explain the truth behind the fire from before. Fire.
そうそう。以前ミロがあなたに薬を盛ろうとしたことがあ
Oh,
った
that
でしょ。
time? Before I forget, do you remember when Milo tried to poison you? Yes. You guys almost died after shielding me from that horrible explosion.
実はあの薬、私の部屋
To tell you the truth, he stole that drug from my room. Uh-huh.
昔から呪いについて研究したりしていたから、一応そういうものも持っているのよ。
I've been researching the curse for a long time, so I have a stack of various drugs and medicines with me.
私には科学者としての才能がないから、全ては無駄だったけれどね。
Then again, I couldn't make good use of them because I wasn't much of a scientist.
ただ、どうしてあの
Have
薬
more
品
bread,
で
hopefully wake me
爆
up.
発が起こったの
I
か
think we're so close to the
私
end.
にもよくわからないわ。
In fact, I still don't understand how it caused the type of explosion. So that was it. I thought that the discomfort I felt at that time had dissipated a bit. So that's why Milo didn't say where he got it from. He didn't want anyone suspicious of Mother. Mother knew that, which is why she didn't reprimand Milo too harshly.
ここまで話せばわかるわよね。私は天罰を受けるに値する人間なの。
It all makes sense now, right? I'm a person deserving of divine punishment.
自分の信念のために家族を犠牲にし、今もなおあなたたちを利用しようとしている。
I sacrificed my own family for my own agenda. And now I'm trying to use you and everyone else.
そういう浅ましい女なの。
Without a doubt, I'm a despicable woman. Too bad. I think it's because of the mentioning the bananas earlier. Banana bread sounds really good. Mother's voice was quiet and remorseful. It was true that I felt a sting when Mother said I had been one of her research subjects. But I don't think so. There was no way I believed that the love she gave me and all these years was fake. Gave me all these years was fake. Mother, you did what you could to try to keep me and Adolf from Sciens. And I don't recall you ever testing me or even trying to get some of my blood. Mother, you always thought about us first and protected us with all your might. So why? If you really wanted to find a way to lift the curse, then you wouldn't have warned us not to go near Sciens.
それは
Well, a few seconds of silence. Mother began to speak in a trembling tone.
家族だと思ってしまったからね。
It's because I saw you two as family.
最初は確かに打算から接触したわ。でもあなたたちと暮らしていくうちにかけがえのない存在になって。
At first I was thinking of using you both for my own sake. But you both became so dear and irreplaceable to me.
子供がいる幸福を思い出させてくれたあなたたちをとてもじゃないけど研究材料として提供する気になんてなれなかった。
You two made me remember the happy days I spent with my child. Which is why I didn't want to give you up to become test subjects.
それだけのことよ。
That's about all I can say now. Mother squeezed out her love in words. After hearing her speak, I spread my arms, which once held Adolf's head, and embraced Mother. Then everything's fine. Whatever your initial intentions were, you still kept us safe, and you didn't betray us or anything.
そんな簡単なことじゃ。
It's more complicated than you think. Things don't have to be complicated. Mother, I'm still here, alive and well because you love me. And Adolf joined the corps to try and keep everyone safe, because he wanted to repay your kindness. I didn't want her to think she wasn't a good mother. So regardless of the situation, there's only one person we can call our mother, and that's you. I don't want anyone else, Mother. I could laugh, cry, hope, and feel despair. I felt human emotions because of her. She showed me with love and gave birth to the person I was today. I embraced her with all my might, so that she would know how I really felt. I could feel Mother trying her best to keep from crying. It must be her pride as a mother, not wanting anyone to see her cry. So instead, she wrapped her arms around me.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
私にとってもあなたたちは大切な子供よ。お腹を痛めて産んでいなくとも大切な家族だわ。
You two are my precious children. I may not have given birth to you, but that doesn't change the fact that you're both my family. Her hug was warm and very different from what I experienced with Sciens yesterday. We held each other tightly until our cold bodies finally became warm again. Mother, what are you going to do now? We're probably gonna end up working with Sciens to take back the institutes.
奪還についてはもちろん手伝うつもりよ。けれど王家についてはもう少し考えてみるわ。
I'm planning on helping too. But in regards to the royal family, I need to think about it a while longer.
自分の人生を全て投げ打ってここまで生きてきたのよ。今さら後戻りなんてできない。
I've given up everything in my life to get this far. I can't go back now.
大事な我が子をたくさん失ったのだからなおさらだわ。
Especially after mourning the children I lost. Mother clenched her fist.
だから私はシアンの味方をする。そうすることが呪いの解明と腐りきった王家を滅ぼす近道になるのならば。
That's why I'm going to side with Sciens. If doing so would lead to identifying the curse destroying the putrid royal family.
もはやこれは執念と意地よ。
I'll move on
感情として継続されていなくても記憶はその無念を覚えているから。
I'll move on persistence and stubbornness alone. Even if my emotions don't carry over, my memories still remember everything. Mother. Her grudge against the royal family would not be alleviated so easily. If I could, I would curse those men who laughed as they executed Adolf. But I still hope that there was at least one person in the royal family worth saving. Which is why I couldn't fully agree with killing everyone.
それにしてもさすがシアンね。こんな窮地に陥っても絶対に諦めないなんて。
I have to admit, it is very much like Sciens to never give up despite the odds. Yes, I feel like he's moving on persistence and stubbornness just like you, Mother.
それはきっと彼にとって死の呪いに打ち勝つことが生きる目的になっているせいでしょうね。
That's probably because his sole purpose in life is to defeat the curse of death. Purpose?
ええ、きっとその決意だけは何があったとしても揺るがないと思うわ。
That's right. I'm sure his determination will never break, no matter what happens.
私とシアンはいわば呪いに挑む同盟者だもの。その気持ちはよくわかる。
Sciens and I are like allies, seeking to challenge the curse, so I know exactly how he feels. The determination was something I didn't have in this life, in the life I lived upon at this point. Sciens had been challenging the curse of death, dedicating his whole life to finding an answer. Challenge the curse. Wait. Why? I looked up to how strong he was all this time, and yet, for some reason, those words didn't seem to move me at all.
俺が率いるゼロ班はその感情をあくまで記号とみなし関与せず
My team Zero simply views emotions as code. We leave it at that.
より効率よく死の呪いに対抗できる肉体的に優れた耐久度の高いリライバーを作ることを目的とした派閥。
Instead, we aim to recreate relivers of such physical durability that they can efficiently counter the curse of death.
いわば生存重視の効率
He can make it. Our focus is on survival efficiency.
この国に救う死神の呪いを完全に打破する方法を探すこと。
My mission is to find a way to completely defeat the curse of death that eats at this country.
つまり根本的な解決こそが俺の最終的な目標だ。
In other words, to get rid of it for good. The conviction I had with Sciens about the curse flashed through my mind. What was this feeling? I didn't think Sciens and Mother were wrong for resisting this country. But a strange feeling lingered in my heart. Mother finally regained her composure, and we formally began our discussion of taking back the Institute. We decided to put our plan into action a few days later after Sciens' expected recovery. Yves and Hugo began the plan by plotting the route and estimating obstructions based on the map and blueprints of the Institute. Mother was working with them to find a way to safely lead civilians from danger using information she got from Mathis. As for Sciens, he was focused on his own recovery while I attended to his needs. Feeding them sandwiches. But he continued to work on reliable research in the meantime. Of course he does. He's a workaholic. Of course he needs to work, even when he's in bed, injured. Sciens, do you really need to do more research at a time like this?
必要なことだからだ。
It's because it's necessary. Sciens winced in pain as he continued to write something in his bed. was doing what he could to fight despite his situation. Still, there was something getting in Sciens' way from the wounds he sustained from Barreau. His days were numbered by the curse, as if the Grim Reaper was holding a scythe over him. I had heard that cough many times before, but now the coughs were coming from Scien's mouth. Scien?
なんだ
Perhaps it would be best if you called it a day and had some rest?
お前も分かっているだろう。今の俺にそんな時間はない。
You know well enough that I have no time for rest. Well, yes, but... Science ignored my suggestion and continued his work. My being here would probably get in the way of his efforts and waste his remaining energy. Then, let me go to another room so I don't get in...
ここにいろ。
He wants us to stay with him. Stay here. Science looked at me and told me to stay. Uh-huh. But...
今は手持ち無沙汰でも何かすぐに用事ができるかもしれない。お前は俺の雑用係だ。
I might not need you now, but something may come up later. Don't forget that you are my maid,
だからそばにいろ。
so stay close.
返事は
I can't hear you. Yes. As ordered, I sat down next to the bed next to him. I sat down on the bed next to him.
俺の体のことだったら気にする必要はない。
You don't have to worry about my health.
研究所を奪還する際にまずリライバー設備を奪えばいい。そこで新たな肉体を作る。
We can regain control of the manufacturing facility when we take back the institutes. And I can then create a new body for myself. When I looked at him with concern, he continued calmly.
しかし肺を強化したクローン体は失敗だったな。強化の仕方が良くなかったのか、理論自体が間違っていたのか。
That said, I did fail in creating a clone with strength and lungs. Perhaps the process or even my logic was faulty.
何にせよ次は長持ちする肉体を作らなければ。
In any case, the next body I create has to last longer than before. Last longer? That strange feeling inside when I woke up to Mother's return. It was starting to bother me once again. Oh, Sciens? I still didn't know what that strange feeling was, so I carefully chose my words. Sciens, are you only focusing on your efforts to develop the Reliver technology?
うん。
Let me rephrase that. Why are you researching a way to strengthen Relivers?
愚問だな。もちろん呪いに対抗するためだ。何度も繰り返し言っているだろう。
That's a stupid question. To fight the curse, of course. I've been telling you that repeatedly. Yes, that's right. I heard from Mother that you two are like allies, challenging the curse. And you mentioned yourself that you wanted to save us by lifting the curse of death from this country.
それがどうした？
I'm curious. I could see now. I finally knew what that strange feeling was. Science. You've been researching Reliver technology. But you haven't been researching the curse itself, have you? Is reviving repeatedly into Reliver bodies and clinging to our lives really the answer we need to defeat the curse? It might be just me, but it looks like you're just finding ways to buy time endlessly.
なんだと？
What felt strange to me was his inconsistency. If he really wanted to find a way to lift the curse, he would research the curse itself and not try to find ways to coexist with it. But Science, perhaps your objective and methods have switched places. Perhaps your objective and methods have switched places. Science's face went pale, hearing my thoughts.
違う。これは呪いと向き合うために必要な研究だ。寿命が短ければ呪いを解明する時間も取れない。
No. This is necessary research to face the truth, the curse. I need time in order to uncover the truth behind the curse.
俺が国民たちの寿命を伸ばすためにどれだけの研究を重ねたと思っている。
Do you know how much time I've put into my research to extend everyone's lives?
呪いによる虚弱状態への進行を減速させるため、クローン体の脳、心臓、筋力、神経など全ての機能を調整した。
I modified every function in the brain, heart, muscles, and nerves to slow the deteriorating effects of the curse.
お前には理解できないことも数多くしている。意見を言うのは構わないが、もっと対局を見てものを。
There's more involved than you can even fathom. I don't mind if you voice your opinion, but you need to look at the bigger... Science didn't finish his sentence, suddenly going silent. I had no intention of changing my opinion, as it was he who taught me to stay true to my convictions. Was I wrong in what I said? 10 seconds passed. Then 20. A minute passed after what felt like eternity.
時間稼ぎの研究。
He searched to buy time. Science suddenly began to mumble, as if questioning himself.
今回問題になった肺の研究もあくまでより強靭なリライバーを作り時間稼ぎをするためだった。
My research into strengthening the lungs was to create a more resilient reliver so that I could buy more time.
そうだ。技術を進ませ苦痛を和らげたとき俺は何をしていた？
See now. What did I do after making advancements to relieve pain from the symptoms?
より丈夫なリライバーを作るために新たな研究をしようとしていた。
I immediately went into research to create a more resilient version of the relivers.
死の呪いから目をそらして。
Wasn't looking at the curse of death. Sam began to cough violently after muttering to himself. His palms were covered in blood. Cyan! He looked at his hands as his shoulders began to shake.
俺は呪いを解くのではなく耐えることに執着していたのか。
He was obsessed with fighting the curse instead of getting rid of it.
呪いの正体がわからないと無意識に敗北を認めて。
Perhaps I already accepted defeat, knowing I couldn't discover the truth behind the curse.
最初はこうではなかったはずだ。少なくともあの女と手を組んだ時は呪いに立ち向かおうとしていた。
It wasn't like this in the beginning. At the very least, I was trying to fight the curse when I decided to work with that woman. His shaking stopped.
確かにリライバーを生み出すまでは早かった。
It's true that I was able to create reliver technology in a short amount of time.
だがそれから先はどれだけ研究を重ねても呪いを解明することすら叶わず。
But I couldn't.
そう。解く以前の問題だった。
But I couldn't find what was causing the curse, no matter how much time I spent in the research. Yes, I uncovered nothing.
犠牲だけが増えていった。
Only sacrifices were made.
リライバーという延命手段を得てもなお呪いには手も足も出ない。それに気がついたとき俺は
Even after prolonging my life as a reliver, I was still helpless against the curse. By the time I realized it, Cyan, I didn't think what I said to him was wrong. But it wasn't something I should have said to someone trying to recover. I reached out to him as I scolded myself for making a bad call when... His laugh seemed unfitting for the situation. Cyan was laughing heartily as I looked at him in surprise. I had never seen that expression on his face before, and with tears in his eyes. Cyan? What's the matter? Are your wounds?
安心しろ。俺はどこもおかしくはない。いや、
Yet.
むしろ今までがおかしかったんだ。
Don't worry, I haven't gone mad. No. If anything, I've been mad until now.
感謝するぞ雑用係。お前のおかげで完全に目が覚めた。この俺に弱さを自覚させたことは称賛に値する。
I think you made. I'm finally awake now. You deserve praise for making me realize my weakness.
こんなに笑ったのは初めてだ。くそ、腹が痛い。
Never laughed so hard before. Damn it, my stomach hurts. That's not good because that's where your wound is. Cyan? I wasn't sure how to react to Cyan as he continued to laugh like a completely different person. Cyan looked at me in a way opposite to my utter confusion about the situation. He looked at me joyfully with gleaming eyes.
そうだ。よくよく考えれば派閥争いなど無意味だった。ダーハトだって勝手にやらせておけばよかったのだ。
How did you think about it? The politics and factions were meaningless. I should just let Donut do what he wanted.
ではなぜ俺は奴らと争っていたのだと思う？雑用係、お前にはわかるか？
Why do you think I was in conflict with them? Can you answer me that, maid? Huh? I can't.
答えは簡単だ。感情など無駄だという考えを広め、自分と同じ思想のものを増やし、共感を得たかったからに他ならない。
The answer is simple. I wanted to gain sympathy by spreading the idea that emotions were useless and having others believe me.
共に呪いから目を背けてくれる同志を俺は求めていたのだ。
I simply sought comrades who would look away from the curse with me.
同時に感情など余計なものがあれば作業効率が落ちてしまうと無意識のうちに考えていた証明でもある。
At the same time, I would be able to prove to myself that emotions were useless as they would reduce work efficiency.
本当の使命はこの国のために呪いに縛られない完全なる生を与えることだというのに。
How laughable, considering my true mission was to provide true lives, so no one would be bound by the curse anymore.
自分から不完全な姿を欲していた。
I was actually trying to become imperfect.
俺は無意識的に助けを求めていたのか。
I was subconsciously seeking help. The gift of God, Cyan both eyes. After years and years,
なんて情けない。あろうことか神と名乗った身で。
pathetic. I called myself a god, but
俺は人に落ちかけていた。
I was almost about to become a human. Hell, I was almost about to become a human. He regained his consciousness from birth. I somehow spoke up as his mad laughter filled the air. So, in other words, you're gonna give up finding the truth behind the curse?
誰がいつそんなことを言った？
Who said so and when? Uh-huh. But
確かにこれまではそうだった。しかし今からは違う。そう。お前の一言で目が覚めた。
that was the old me. But I'm different now. Yes, maiden of death, you woke me up with your words.
俺は神に戻る。
I will return to being a god.
いや、さらなる領域に至る。
No, I will transcend the level of god.
誰の手も借りない。誰も犠牲にしない。この身ただ一つで呪いを解明してみせる。
With nobody's help, with nobody's sacrifice, I will uncover the truth of the curse myself.
今まで散々くだらないとバカにしてきた感情によって。
I'll use what I look down upon and ridiculed for so long. I'll use emotions. Dun dun dun! I guess about time for him to somewhat come to his senses, although it's still a little confusing. His... whatever. His artificial eyes sparkle brilliantly. His eyes contain the heat of passion and madness in bringing people to life, and I was completely mesmerized. So this is the real Sciens. The person I so looked up to. The amazing person I fell in love with. What a blinding and powerful person he was. As I continued to look up at him with infatuation, Science spoke.
どうだまだ文句あるか
What? Do you have something to say? No, not at all. You're going to find true salvation for the people without sacrificing anyone. I don't want Adolf and the children to have died for nothing. I'll do everything I can to help you.
いい顔をするようになったじゃないか
You're finally looking better?
どうせ俺たちはこのままでは処刑されるのを待つだけの身だ思いも感情もただの記録となって消えるのみ
We were all destined for death. Our thoughts and emotions would disappear as mere records of the past. The Science suddenly took my hand.
だったら自分たちの手で未来を切り開くだけだ
In that case, let's take the future into our own hands. He made a bold declaration.